Alrighty. Hey gang. You guys see me? I expect this is gonna be terrible quality, you guys, but I thought I'd kick this off and try and get a little two-way hangout going, a little more give and take and try and get to hang out with you guys a little bit. I think probably a lot of the world is like me, kind of trapped at home for a while. So I thought this would be a nice way to get together and hang out. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear me, how well it's going to work. I'm just kind of trying to work through some bugs. I have really slow internet here, DSL, and so it uploads extremely slow. And so I'm trying. I've got the all the video settings turned way down, so I'm going to try and get this to work. Oh, I got a light that I don't need to turn on. So this is all new. So if anyone's in here, I can't really see it unless you text. Oh, there's two trance. All right. Who's burning today? I'm burning. I'm burning. Oh, good. You can hear me. All right. Thank you so much for letting me know. That's awesome, you guys. I can't see. I'm new to this. I'm just kind of getting it set up. Like I said, I'm really interested in being able to have a little more dialogue with you guys and do a little more question and answer. I haven't been good about answering my comments. I apologize. They just are overwhelming sometimes, to be honest. Yeah, all right. Thanks, Blue Boy. So yeah, I thought with everyone in quarantine and lockdown and what's going on in the world, we could all probably use a little social interaction. So I thought I'd get Stove Chat going as a little bit more of a two-way street. So this is the beginning of this project. I just am using my laptop right now. Um, I've got some hopefully better quality mic and camera. Um, I'm working on the setup. I need some interface gear that's in the mail and is going to take a while, it looks like. But hopefully I'll work on the quality and we'll get this going as I move forward here. So hope you guys are all good. Welcome to Stove Chat. Yeah, I'm burning. I hope you guys are all have had a good winter. It is getting warm. It's getting warm here too. I'm burning just in the evening and in the morning a little bit. And man, what a season I've had with my stove, you guys. It's been awesome. I haven't done maintenance on it. I mean, other than just shoveling it out. I think this is the first season that I've gone through the whole season without doing anything, and that's not entirely true. I had a mishap that actually is kind of fun to talk about. Right there, right there, my old snowboard that I painted 20, 30 years ago or something, fell off the wall right there where it is, and it broke my glass top, and it just broke the corner off. So it wasn't too bad. So right now I just have a big pile of mud, a big pile of mortar sitting on top of it. Didn't break when it was burning, fortunately. It was out, so I just sealed it back up, like I said, with a big pie, kind of, it, stuck it together. It was just a broken corner, so I just kind of, you know, fit it together and put sand and clay over it, and it's still going. But point is, I didn't do anything else, and so I'm feeling really good about that. That RS330 secondary air tube has been holding up, just like I was saying. It still is. I see no deterioration, actually, no spalling, no deformity. It looks great. And my liner as well around the firebox is really protecting the firebox. The liner, it looks like it's going to last. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, but it's pretty warped. So I definitely want to take it out this summer and, excuse me, flatten it out a little bit, bend it, out to its regular shape and see if will hold it again. It seems like it deforms less each time after I reform it in the heat. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The edges, I'm not seeing any signs of spalling, even though it's thin. So it seems to be working pretty well. I'd probably get a thicker. Yeah, that was your idea, Pete. Nice. Good to see you, man. Cool. That was your idea. I'd probably get it thicker, Pete, if you go down that road. But man, what a good idea. What a great idea, dude. I love it. It really is the last piece of the puzzle, because that stove now has, just like I said, it's been cruising through the whole season. I think if I had bought thicker metal, then it'd probably be, the warping doesn't bother me that much. But Pacific Northwest Dave burned a single load in your riserless core this morning. Just keep the mass warm. Nice, Dave. Right on. Glad to hear it. Yeah, that's kind of pretty much what I've been doing too. Just burning at night, burning once in the morning. I get up pretty early, so it was freezing this morning, so the fire's nice. So ask me. Yeah, great. Thank you. That's kind of, I don't have a lot to talk about, you guys, so I just kind of wanted to get a hangout and a chat going. And if you got questions, please ask. And I'll do my best to answer them for you. Um, Cheapest material, something like my cook stove. Yeah, um, I think. Sorry about the lighting. I'm trying to figure out how to make it. I see what it's doing. It's picking up from the outside's brightness. Um, yeah, great question. So, boy, there's a lot of factors that go into that. And a lot of it really depends on your skills and salvage ability and where you are and all that. I think my favorite low cost way to build a good rocket stove and a good cook stove is how I did my full cook stove, the original cook stove in my big house. And I built it with insulated fire bricks, also known as kiln brick. And they're pretty darn expensive, almost no matter how you buy them. But you can often find old kilns that are being either sold for scrap or given away for salvage sometimes. You know, there's old steel, you know, they look like stainless steel refrigerators or ovens, and they're usually 220 volt things, and someone usually has them and can't run them anymore or doesn't use it. And they're hard. They seem like they must be hard for people to sell because they'll be sitting out back of someone's house or something like that. Anyways, inside of those is usually enough kiln brick. They're usually a weird shape, but there's enough of them usually to build a core. And you can usually find one of those kilns for free or $100, something like that, if you look long enough on Craigslist. So that's a good choice. If you got to buy stuff new, I think the cheapest way, there isn't really a cheap way. Even the regular dense fire bricks, which don't do a very good job, you end up spending a few $100 on them for a core, almost as much as you'd spend on ceramic fiberboard. So I don't know that there's a real great inexpensive option. You know, my clay perlite was really the cheapest DIY thing that I could find back when those were kind of my ultimate goals. And while I still believe in it, it's not very durable to abrasion, as you know we talked about, and it's not strong enough to cover like any spans for any of the newer batch type like cores like my riserless. You just need a little more meat over the top of some of those things than that material offers. So let's see. I'm sorry, guys. My screen is so small. I gotta really get in here to try and see what it says. So yeah, and I mentioned my hot water heater, Blue Boy, and I was just thinking about that last night. How it's time for me to get going on that program. It's just it was snowing yesterday. It's still been not quite ready to go outside. Yeah, old kilns. That's the deal, Chance. You got it. I think that's probably the cheapest way to get high quality refractory materials to build a core. Like I said, there'll be weird shapes. A lot of times they're kind of like trapezoidal, so they fit inside a round or an octagon kiln. But you can usually figure they're soft, so if you need to cut them, you can. But you can also usually just sort of cobble those together using clay and sand in a way that you can make a core work. So and going back to Blue Boy there, my water heater. Yeah, I have been remiss. I haven't done it. I'm hoping I'll get to it. It's not going to be, don't expect it next week. It's going to be it'll be, you know, coming out, let's say coming out this summer. That'll give me a little bit of leeway. This quarantine thing has not slowed that type of project down at all. As a matter of fact, it's given me some time to do it. But I'm expecting to have to go back to actual work here, and it's dragging my contracts out for my real day job. I'm contracted to finish these jobs, and now they're going to stretch out into summer. So anyways, neither here nor there, but the water heater basically going to be based on my outdoor brick oven. So that's that's a great platform for the water heater. It'll have a small barrel using to form a buffer tank inside of that bell area where the oven is now. And that's basically it. There'll be a coil inside of that thing, an open vented tank inside that. And then you'll have, you know, there's a myriad of ways you could take that depending on your goals. If it was in your cabin and you wanted it to keep you warm, I wouldn't add insulation. If you wanted it to be, strictly for water heating, you could insulate inside. If you wanted to have a longer thermal battery, you could insulate it on the outside. There's a lot of ways you could go to adjust that to meet your goals. So there's that. And then let's see. So yeah, a good alternative for cheap would be to attach a complete J-tube in perlite and clay, like a Walker stove with riser. I don't really understand your question, but you can go back to my early videos. 2012, I think I did my 8-inch J casting video, and that shows you how to make a good J rocket using, casting with just fire clay and perlite. And like I said, if you were going to do that, then I would go with you can still make that into a cook stove of your own design, but it's hard to fit that into like that shape of my cook stoves, like just basically a brick rectangle, because the feed needs to protrude somewhere for a J, something like that. So I don't know if that's making any sense. A good alternative for cheap would be to attach J-tube and perlite and clay. Yeah, you can build one in perlite and clay for sure, and that is a good, inexpensive alternative. Like I said, go back to my early videos, and you'll see my very first rocket stove. I heated my house with it for, quite a few years anyways, 2 or 3, and or maybe longer. It's been a while, and it worked well. Worked really well. The performance was great. As a matter of fact, the riser's still in use. That's a great way to build a riser. If you go back to my old video, I use a small oil drum and inner form made out of a flue pipe and just perlite and clay, and those risers are great. I have one still in the big house, still in use, and then there's one in my shop right now that's been cured years ago. And man, when you cure them hard in a rocket stove, they stay really well cured. So I don't know if my chat's scrolling here. I hope I don't wreck it trying to move it. Oh, I can't. Oh, I see. Oh, I made it way too tall. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm just learning how this goes. You can probably see what I'm doing there. I don't know if I can adjust the properties right now. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't just screw something up. I don't think so. I think you guys have a separate chat there. Yeah, like I said, I'm learning. Are you saying why build a rocket mass heater like that? Oh, because I was just experimenting, man. Because I, built what I thought was the best one I could build, and then a few years later, I had been playing with it outside, and it was time to keep experimenting. The only reason I tore it down was because I got my testo, and I was starting to work on the secondary air settings in Peter's batch box, and so I wanted to be able to continue to experiment with that indoors. But otherwise, it'd still be there. Yeah. Yo, Kolnitsky. Welcome to the stream and the chat. Yeah, I thought I'd get a little hangout going while we're all stuck indoors, or stuck. I'm not really stuck indoors. I'm just stuck on my property here for the most part. Really enjoying it, to be honest. Not enjoying everyone being sick out there. Hope everyone's okay. But yeah, hope you guys all staying good and getting firewood ready for next season. It's that time of year, boys, right? Time to go cutting wood. I got it on my list. I haven't been outside to do it, but time to get the chainsaw fired up. It's been, like I said, it's been freezing here in the morning still. And I'm just sort of hoping for us, we'll break into the 50s here in no time, and then it's about perfect wood getting weather for me. So yeah, time to refill the woodshed. And yeah, like I said, I don't really need to do much to my stove. It's just been going solid. I will, hopefully, I got to find a new glass top since I broke the one I got, but I'll probably hunt one of those down and make that repair and bang out that RA330 core liner, and we'll just see how she goes from there. So yeah, so I don't know if anyone's got any questions for me, but let's see, I'll try and think of something else to tell you guys about in the rocket stove world. Blue, you were asking about my water heater. I think I covered a lot of that. But I'm pretty excited actually about getting that going, because I think that it's going to be something that a lot of people can use, especially that multi-purpose aspect of it. Oh, I do have something to share, you guys. Since we're doing a live chat, I'll drop a little. This is just a preview. I'm actually going to make a video as soon as I get the green light from the other party. But there will soon, knock on wood, I have said this before and it hasn't quite come through, but this looks like it's going to. There's going to soon be ceramic fiberboard cores available. Hi, Angel from Puerto Rico. Hello. Thank you for saying hi. So yeah, someone, I won't reveal who that is yet, and he said he wasn't quite ready for sales or web traffic, but has been working on a project to make ceramic fiberboard cores from my plans and make them available to you guys via web sales and ship them to you direct. So that's something I'm super excited about. I have never been able to take the time or have the resources to really do that at any level, but I've always thought it would be something that would be great for someone to do. I've had a few people approach me and kind of get started and not seem to go much farther, and it's looking like these are great. So he sent me a test one, and I've been playing with it, and it's, man, they were super nice, great material. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And yeah, the bell behind me, yeah, I'm still using it. As a matter of fact, it's almost still burning. The last time I put wood in it was just like maybe 2 hours ago. 3 hours ago, I guess now, probably. But yeah, it is. I'm still using it daily, and it works. It's been working awesome. I mean, I haven't, like I said, I haven't gone in there once this year. I have no plans to make any changes. It's performance is pretty much. I'm really pleased with it. It's just, so just ever so hard, slightly hard to start when it's cold. When the stove's cold, and when it's hot, the chimney isn't too hot. It's just pretty well balanced. I'm really, pleased with it overall. So that's the tiny cook stove with a bench on it. And I've been doing actually quite a bit of roasting in it. I hadn't been. Oh, I hope I wasn't just banging on the desk and making a bunch of noise. Sorry if I was. I have been cooking in the oven. For a while, I really wasn't using that oven much. It's pretty limited in the tiny, since it's so far below the firebox level. It can't really get terribly hot. I've gotten it pretty close to 400 degrees, but it really wants to ride in the high 200s or low 300s, depending on what time of year and how you're burning. But man, I've been roasting barbecue, and really things like lamb ribs and what else, a brisket, and all kinds of good slow cooked stuff in there, and it's just been working awesome. It's so nice having that stability of the bricks, and I'm using the wood stove, so I'm going to heat it up, and then it seems like one load of wood gets that thing up to about 200 and change, and then I'll put the food in and one more load of wood, and then it kind of bumps up to usually close to 300, drops back down, and I can leave the wood out, and I can roast for 4 hours, and then stick a little more wood in there. It's really nice, chill way to cook. It's just long, slow, stable. I mean, if you really stuff wood in it, the temperature kind of it fluctuates, but if you sort of ride that line that it maintains at, it's really easy to cook all day. Sometimes I even cook overnight. I'll heat it up pretty hot at night and then go to bed, and 6-7 hours later, it's just coming down to where you want to take it out. So sorry, Pete, I wasn't reading your comment there. I see it though. Impossible to get your hands on RA330 in Europe. I thought so, Pete. I was wondering. I had heard someone else tell me that too. Exhaust pipe 304. Oh, well, that's pretty great. Huh. Yeah, I don't know if a liner will work or not. I have not had great luck with stainless, but sometimes it's hard to tell the grade. 304 is pretty high. 309, if you could find that, is even supposedly better. I think those are referring to the nickel content. I think last number. I could be wrong about that, but I think that as you go in those higher numbers, you get more nickel. Um, but that's great that it's holding up so well. It must be, I wonder if it's fairly thick walled. I have tried, I had some small diameter, thick wall stainless that seemed like it was holding up okay. But it was the wrong size, so I wasn't able to really test it. And then the larger diameter stuff I had was thin wall, and it wasn't doing very well. That was that muffler stuff, and I mean, it did okay, but it wasn't significant advantage over even just Schedule 40 black steel. Whereas the RE330 seems to be not really deteriorating at all. So we'll see about that 304. And it sounds like you're looking for some solutions, Pete, for being able to do more than one of those. But if you just need one, let me know of a part. Let me know, and I could probably help you out with that at some point when we start shipping again or whatever. So there's that. And what about stove tech? I have been kind of out of the loop, you guys. I've been busy building boats and doing other stuff. I keep up on Donkey's board a bit. I know Peter's DSR and Will and Vortex's stove, which is pretty close to that DSR in my opinion. But those are they're pretty neat. They're burning really well. They're not, I don't think for me, I still think my riserless meets my goals better, but that's some new tech that I've seen that's pretty cool. The latest thing that I'm kind of aware of. I haven't seen much else. I've seen people mess around on YouTube, and it sort of seems like things haven't changed much in that world. Sort of some of the same ideas kind of being recycled around quite a bit. Same old ideas, for better or for worse, good or bad. But I haven't seen anything really stand out. If there's something out there that I'm missing, I'd love it if you guys let me know. Anything like I love, on Donkey's board, I'll tell you my favorite thing is Eric Australia and his gigantor steampunk J-tube heater. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but man, it is unbelievable. I think I'm gonna guess that it's a 10-inch system, but it could be bigger. I don't remember, but the barrel on the thing is like 16 feet tall or something, and his craftsmanship and his sense of art and style are really on point, really unique, very cool thing. So that's it's been years in the making. I don't think we've got a burn report yet, although I haven't really kept up on Donkey's board lately. So maybe I guess it's coming into winter there, so I think it's probably getting to be time. Pretty excited about that. Eric Oss, I really doubt you're watching, but if anyone on Donkey's board who is in touch with him is, let's hype him up. Let's get that thing burning. And what else? What else is going on in Rocket Stove World? Big fan of sauna for health benefits. Mark, I do and I don't. I do have plans for if you I don't know how to I'm just live right now, so I'm figuring this out, but I have a video from 3 summers ago, I think, showing you me constructing my J-tube ceramic fiberboard core, J-core, and I sell the plans for that core. And I show myself building that into my outdoor sauna. And I still think that's a really great way to go. Now, I don't have a finalized plan. My brick rocket mass heater, which is a J-tube plan, it would actually be a great plan set for the sauna. The whole bottom part of it would remain the same, and then the only thing I would change is I'd put a metal radiator where the bell is rather than bricks, so you have a nice fast heat into the sauna. And that's what I did. I just built the metal radiator in the J-tube, the firebox is outside. I built that radiator kind of right in the wall of the sauna, and then I used super wool on the outside of the radiator and metal roofing to make that outside wall and insulate it all and push all that heat inside. So the fire is burning in the J tube outside the wall, and then up into the wall there, and then the sauna, is over here, and you're sitting inside over there. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I can work on plans for you if you need more, or if you are interested in the base structure and a metal box for the radiator. I can definitely walk you through that piece by piece, should you want to buy the plans and just consult with me. Consulting comes free with all plan purchases, and we basically just use the bottom part of that in brick and put a metal radiator on it. So let's see, what else do we got here? Pete, your riserless is prone to overfuel. Yeah, there definitely is a balance. It does like larger logs for sure. Yeah, Mark, you're welcome. I hope that helps. I probably won't. I mean, down the road, I do have sauna on my list of plans, but it wouldn't be much more than just sort of adding a few things to that one thing. Everyone's idea of the sauna is so different. The shape of the sauna and the location and the elevations and all that I've found that it's better to leave plans kind of loose, because every single person ends up customizing them. So you always get in contact with me anyways. It's kind of why I priced things like I did with the consulting in mind, because that's really what you're buying, is sort of a base rocket stove plan, and then my time to help it fit your goals, which everyone needs. No one's house is the same, no one's sauna location is the same, benches vary in size, which side they want to come off, all that. So there's that. You're welcome, Mark. So Pete, going back to overfueling, yeah, absolutely. It's actually something that I find all the batch boxes do, with the exception of, Peter really designs. I mean, his stoves are just drag racers, and there's no negative in any of this. This is all awesome stuff. Peter's just shooting for the moon. He's going for as fast as he can go, the last 1/100th of a second. And so you've probably seen his test runs. He basically fills that thing with like the hottest, smallest beech and birches things he can put in there, and just tries to get it to rocket. So that's great for the first burn. But that's kind of the downside to the original batch box to me. And that's, that whole process when I changed my J to the first batch, the thing that I found, I went from Peter's original batch, I moved to that in my house, started heating my house with it. And what would frustrate me was that by the time you got to the second or third load, if you needed it, if the heater was undersized for the house, poor insulation, there's a lot of reasons. Peter's designed for a specific set of circumstances. Those batch boxes. He lives in an almost passive house, and he goes for the ultimate efficiency out of one load of wood. Super cool. If you load more fuel in it, then those same designs pretty quickly start to overfuel. And one thing that design doesn't do very well is it doesn't sort of slow down that burn rate and still stay efficient. It's kind of all or nothing, and you're right in that sweet spot or you're out of it. That was my experience. So when I designed my riserless core, yes, absolutely, it has a little bit of, I'll call it like a broader performance sweet spot, like kind of a wider power band or something, you might say. But it's not going to spike as high, right, on the efficiency. It doesn't have the ability to be quite as efficient because it doesn't handle that peak burn as well. But the flip side of that is that you can load it with larger wood, and you can continue to load it with larger wood, and you can restrict the primary air depending on which design you're using. If you use the primary secondary behind a single flapper, then you can kind of restrict the whole thing. But at any rate, you can restrict the stove and still get close to 90% efficiency and get much more stable burns. I started chasing, when I got my testo, I started chasing that flat line. Peter really never chased that flat line. He always, and he's getting there now because his DSR2 is much closer to my riserless, in the sense that the restrictions within the core are kind of a key element. You're sort of trying to slow it down, whereas in the original batch with any real tall risered stove. They're just built to race, you know, to just run full tilt. And so the DSR2, you'll notice too, he's starting to get those flat lines in his testo. When I talk about flat line, I mean the carbon monoxide level. And his old charts would be pretty peaky. He would have fairly low CO, like average, but there would be peaks and valleys and humps. And it wasn't terribly low overall, but it was low enough that he would have just a wicked efficiency rating, which is what he was going for. You know, my goal was the opposite, or not the opposite, but my goal was to just sort of get a super flat CO line down super low, because I, you know, believe that means we're burning off basically all of the available fuel. And in doing that, I'm able to create a core that had that long flat line over much longer periods. So, you know, now I started to see that. This was back in 2015 or 16. You know, I started to see that flat line over a period of like 50 minutes instead of like 15 or 20. So different goals, different burning styles. And yeah, absolutely, Pete, I don't recommend, you know, you won't hurt it, but it'll overfuel. You'll get black smoke. You'll get unburned fuel if you try and burn, you know, at that absolute peak burn. I designed it after living with my wood stove. I started with my J, and really being not that enthused about small wood. You can see out my window there, you know, I have large format wood on my property, so it was a pain in the butt for me to always make small format wood, and I need a lot of it. You know, I burn in the big house. I was burning a lot of wood. Up here, I don't burn as much, but still, when you use small format fuel, it's just kind of a pain when you need a lot of wood. So there you go. So organic theme, you're gonna miss the chat. Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Thanks for coming in. And I'll do this. I'll try and do this maybe weekly for a little while here while we're all stuck at home. So I don't know if you saw the preview. I'll drop the previews, chat preview, you know, probably the day before. I think I'll probably just try and do it next Wednesday. And I'd love to, if you guys got questions, revise it and get my input. So that's kind of what I'm doing this for. I mean, I think the whole world's under quarantine for the most part. So thought it'd be a nice time to hang out. I'd like to interact with you guys more. I'm terrible with the comments. I apologize. But I thought this would be a good way for us to do it. So I'll try and get this ball rolling. I'm going to get some better technology. Don't think I can get better internet, but I'm trying. I'm going to try a cell phone internet provider and see if that'll let me upload a little faster. So we'll see. And I don't know, Pete. I don't know. I don't have experience with that. I don't, but I tried quite a few things, including, you know, like aluminized exhaust parts and well, yeah, you know, stainless exhaust parts, aluminized exhaust parts, stainless boat parts, steel. No Corten. Corten is pretty tough. I guess it'd be worth a try for sure. You might as well. But I think from my research, the highest temperature sort of in the normal steel world, and still hard to find, are those 309 and 310 stainlesses. Very hard to find, but those were sort of the best up until the RA 330, as far as I know. So RA 330 must have a competitor in Europe. You just have to figure out who it is. Someone who does industrial boiler air injecting. I think they use it for the same stuff. I saw images of like fuel racks in industrial boilers, you know, like where they'd load their big fuel bricks or logs or whatever they're burning in a big, like we have some biomass boilers here making electricity. And I think RA330 sells to those types of power generation plants, so they can build their big fuel racks, a big wood fireplace and iron on a giant scale. So that's worth a shot. But so going back to the chat, you know, I'm excited about this, and we've been going for 40 minutes here, so we'll go for a little longer. But what I'd like to do is kind of develop this and you know, get some more interaction get you guys chatting amongst each other and sharing your experiences. So I'll try and get a regular time and day going, and maybe we'll try and do this going forward. I'd love to hear from everybody. One of my goals was to try and do it at a time that um, that fits, a lot of people all over the world, because I know that a lot of you guys are not in my continent, let alone hemisphere or whatever. And so, of course, I say that I attempted to do that, but I neglected to even look. I just had it in my brain that I wanted to do that, and I was just like, oh, whatever, 2 o'clock on a Wednesday. But I forgot to look at my world time zone, so I don't know what time it is everywhere else. I mean, I sort of do have a rough idea, but I'd love for you guys to, if whoever's watching just wants to drop a time in the chat, or or a comment when it's all done, and just say, I won't be able to obviously appease everybody, but if I got a kind of general ballpark of what works for people, maybe I can find a medium time, because I don't really care what time I do it. So yeah. So, but chat, seems like it's something we could all use right now. So yeah, just thought I'd hang out with you guys. I wish so the biggest barrier for me to do this is my internet connection. So I've got, like I said, the video settings cranked way down on the video here, and my fastest upload speed is 0.7 Mbps that I've seen on my speed test. So I'm going to try and get that remedied. I'm going to try a cell phone solution, and if I can get it going faster, I'll definitely sort of be able to up my game here and make this a little more interesting, probably. So it's almost midnight there, Pete. Okay, yeah, an hour or so earlier. So that's what I thought. I didn't want to do it too late in the day. Right now it's kind of like getting to be dinner time on the East Coast here, sort of after lunch, early afternoon on the West Coast here, which is where I am. I said East Coast here, I meant East Coast of the U.S., and here on the West Coast. And then Europe, yeah, I was thinking that England and those areas, but you're even a little farther, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're even an hour or two farther east, I guess, as I'm looking at the map. Yeah. Anyways, almost midnight there, so an hour or two earlier. That's great. That'd be good for me too. Love to start at like lunchtime here, noon. Wouldn't be too bad. So yeah, Core 10. Yeah, see, I thought so too. I didn't think Core 10 was really rated very high, Pete. I wasn't one that in my memory stuck out. I think you're better with stainless. Yeah, you're welcome, Trance. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. I definitely think this is one of the frustrations with this format for me has been making these videos and then getting all your great comments and not really being able to. I just kind of wanted to like make another video right then, and be able to comment and reply. So I think for a few years now I've had some new stuff to share, but more what I'd like to share is the building knowledge that I have, and unless I just go make sort of gratuitous videos that show basic things over and over again, which isn't very fun for me. But I don't really, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not like I'm having groundbreaking like new builds all the time to share with you. So I really thought this would be a great way to share my knowledge and just be accessible and get to hang out with you guys and hear about your projects. Like I said, I still, if anyone knows of anything cool out there in the rocket stove world, I'd love to hear it. I see on Donkey's board every now and then some pretty cool builds crop up, but boy, it sure seems like you Europeans are a lot more comfortable with sort of the moderate sized masonry heater concept. Over here in the States, it seems like it's either on the East Coast, those giant, soapstone behemoths that only the very few can afford, or nothing at all. Whereas, in Europe, I see plenty of small room-sized masonry heaters, not house-sized, as it were. So, love to hear about more in the States or more locally. Where I do hear a lot about of quite a few builds too is South America. So I'm really interested in that. Any folks in Argentina or Uruguay or Chile or anywhere like that, um, if you guys got builds going, I'd love to hear about them. I am incredibly interested. Oh yeah, thanks, Manny. Hey, there's Manny. Nice, dude. Thank you, my friend. I hope you're doing well, man. Man, I think about you all the time, brother. I'm jealous. You were right. It's cold here. I'm actually trapped close to my favorite surf break, but it's cold. So, yeah, thanks for. There's my shack. There she is. I'll show you guys more of it someday. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was saying. But yeah, Manny, good to see you. Love your little cook stove, man. Loved it. Super cool. Really cool. Oh, speaking of, whoever was just asking me about a cook stove. Oh, I was talking about Argentina. I was. Thank you. Whoever was asking me about the cook stove with a J rocket, I think ASC, that was you. Click on Manny the Sea Cow's profile right there. He's got pretty much the coolest small J tube cook stove that you can build for almost nothing. I mean, if you got lava, but there's other stuff there too. So yeah, click on Manny right there, right above you. He's the man. He's a wealth of knowledge and calming vibes. So Argentina, you're there, ASC. Awesome, brother. Very cool, man. I want to come visit you. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. I actually was ready to buy a plane ticket to South America for next summer. But I guess we'll see if the world travels after this. But yeah, I want to come visit Argentina and Uruguay. You guys got my favorite things, cattle and surfing. What a mix, huh? Oh, and rocket stoves. I shouldn't forget that. So yeah, Manny. Nice, dude. Good to see you, man. I'd love to see your digs. Did you build something over there, Manny? Like a little abode? I can't remember if you said you bought something or if you built something, but you don't have to share right now if you don't want to. I'm sure you probably just popped in to say hi. Didn't mean to get drilled and interviewed. But speaking of which, I'd like to also, you guys, set up a little voice channel. I'll set it up on Discord or something. And then I'd love to have some of you guys call in as guests once in a while. So Manny, if you're still listening, my friend, you're on that. You're top of that list, my friend. So someday maybe in the near future, I'll hit you up and try and get you to come online with me and talk about your build. Let me pick your brain a little bit about what you've discovered. Manny's done some cool builds, you guys. Some cool. Like I said, small format cook stoves. He's probably pushed the J small format cook stove. I've seen a lot of sort of aprovecho and plancha and all the different types of little rocket cook stoves. But Manny's done some cool stuff using a real actual J as opposed to an L. So I guess I'm really talking about you, Manny. Sorry about that. So yeah, there's my new digs too. Yeah, thank you for that. So it's all it's just salvage. It's freezing in here. There's no insulation. All salvage windows. All the wood came off my property. It's all just cedar. There's my stairs right there. My ladder up to my loft, and it's all just salvage cedar. My neighbor milled it all for me. I'm still waiting to do the ceiling. Still waiting to get enough wood. There's my rings and my rope, my climbing gear. Not climbing. Just workout stuff, do some pull-ups and dips and things like that. Yeah, you did build a little shack. I thought so. I figured you were going to. I couldn't remember if you had bare land or, oh man, you probably got a lava rock foundation and bamboo walls. And you don't need any insulation. I'm so envious. Centipedes. That's not so bad though. Millipedes. I can't remember which one's centipedes, I think. But I wouldn't be able to survive over there though, Manny. Couldn't afford it, man. I went the opposite way of you with my diet, and so I only eat the most expensive of of diets. Apparently, it's not actually expensive because you know me, I got 1 million cows in my pasture, but I don't have 1 million. I have 2. About to eat them, by the way. I'm gonna end my livestock run. I think I've been wanting to hotspot from cell phones. Yeah, no, I got one right there, Manny. I do. I have one right here. I've been driving around in a van, trying to relive my hippie days a little bit last summer, and so I got that thing, and man, it was awesome. And the service out in the wild was unreal. I was getting like 50 up. It was killer. But unfortunately, here at my house, that one's on AT&T, and there's not an AT&T. You've been here. I'm not. Don't I have okay service, but not great. And AT&T is one of the ones that has terrible service. So, and then I'm come to find out that that router is not great for what I'm trying to do here. So I have a different router coming, and I'm going to try T-Mobile first and then Verizon and see if I can latch on to a good signal. It's hard to tell. I'm getting mixed reviews on max uploads out here regardless, but I do know that that router, that Netgear M1, and especially it seems like, well, I don't know for sure if it's AT&T, but it definitely limits in some areas on some towers, it limits you to your upload speed, and I think that's what I'm experiencing here. I have an okay signal on it, but it's just it's slower than the DSL. It's like 0.3 up or something. But I will try that. And yeah, so I was telling you about my livestock, screw stoves. We can talk stoves. You guys will come back for stove chat, but I'll tell you about my farm. It's been a while. I haven't talked about my farm. I spent so much time on my farm, planting fruit trees and. Okay, Pete. Yeah, thanks for dropping by, man. I'll do it next Wednesday. I'll try and do it a little earlier. I'm gonna make a note of that right now. Wednesday, we'll say maybe noon. See if that works out. I'll try. I'm not sure, but I'll try. So thanks for stopping in, Pete. So yeah, my farm though, I planted the last of my big fruit tree run, I think just 4 years ago or so. So I've still been pretty much packing it full of trees and my old garden and all that. But over 3 years ago now, I stopped eating any of that stuff. And so I stopped growing anything at all. So I don't plant any seeds. And life's pretty easy. To be honest, I'm loving it. So I was thinking I was going to invest back into my livestock, and I am going to at some point. But I want to take a break for 2 reasons. One is I got really sick a few years ago, and I haven't been able to travel or do anything until recently. I've been starting to get my game back on, kind of fixed a lot of stuff. And so I really want to travel. And so I'm going to take a break from the animals. I've eaten my way through all the sheep, and I've got 2 cows left. I'm going to put them in the freezer probably in like a month, pretty soon. And I'm going to take a break from fixing fences and all that stuff. And then probably this time next year, I think I'll reinvest. And I think I'm going to get some bigger cows. I've been raising Dexters for about 15 years or something like that. And I'm going to get some larger cattle, some Shorthorn or Angus or something, and maybe go back to sheep. We'll see. But I'm gonna take a little time off and then reinvest in my infrastructure a little bit and stop patching crappy fences together. Some things never end, huh? I'm too old for this now. So yeah, that's my story. Man, you're probably living the life, man. You're probably living on coconuts and mangoes and papayas. I'm envious. I love that stuff. Fresh lime off the tree, squeezed on your papaya. Maybe some fish, lobster. You probably dive for bugs. Oh, you probably don't. I don't know. Maybe you do. Anyways, so guys, stove chat. I'm way off base here, and I don't see any stove questions. So we're just about an hour. My goal was to get to an hour here, and so I'm just about there. So if you got any stove questions, if you're out there, hit me up. Otherwise, I think I'll probably start wrapping it up. And like I said, I'm going to try and do it again next week. Try and we'll see if my Amazon stuff shows up. I'll try and up my quality, and I'll keep picking away at this project, and we'll keep hanging out. So I'll try and get a preview, or not a preview, but set it up as a premiere, so it announces that we'll be doing it. And hopefully you guys can all join in next week and talk about stove stuff. If there's anything that you'd like to see, any videos you'd like me to make, anything like that, it'd be great to hear about it. I'm definitely going to be spending some of this quarantine time sort of putting some definitely putting some time back in this project. So yeah, Trance, you got pastured pork. Excuse me, nice. Yeah, I did Tamworths for a few years, and man, I sure loved raising pigs, but I didn't like. They were too personable, man. It was hard to put them down, and pork doesn't agree with me that much anymore. It isn't a great staple. I can eat it once in a while, but it's something about the quality of the fat is difficult on my digestion as I've progressed here. So I eat it as a treat. But raising them is great. And the other thing about pork, it's tough. It was tough for me, and it really depends on where you are. Manny, actually, man, I'm sure stoked on Manny. I mean, I am stoked on you, Manny. I don't know if you're watching, but Manny raised pork, I think. Yeah, I'm getting this right. So what I'm trying to say is pork was hard for me because I didn't have much pork food. Manny lived in a place where there was a ton of mast crops, and so places like that, pork makes a lot of sense. Here I had to pretty much buy all of my food for my pigs. Not all of it. I planted some rows, and I pastured them, and they that doesn't last long, as you know. It's not pasture very long. I mean, it is if you keep moving, which is a lot of work. So yeah. So I had pigs, but they weren't the best thing for my land. I have grass. I have good grass all year long. Semi-stove related. Traded your Sawzall and table saw. Yeah. Nice, Manny. So, I mean, as well as I do that obviously that's it's so funny listening to recommendations from, this is not a comment on you and your comment there. I know you're exactly right. You chose your tools based on your needs and your fuel, and it's so specific to everyone's area, right? Like what kind of wood you have, what format, how big, your stove, everything else. I know when you were talking about building this stove, you were talking about using some really unique fuel sources, and I think that man, never having a chainsaw again, dream come true, right? They are a pain in the ass. I love my electric chainsaw. That Makita is literally one of the best investments I've ever made. If you guys don't have one and you are collecting firewood, like a wood burner, like if you're running saw regularly, get yourself a Makita chainsaw. They're just the best for anything but, bucking trees over 10 inches or so. They're just great. Yeah, the delay. Yeah, no worries, Manny. I know so I'm working on the internet as we just talked about. So, yep, I know. But yeah, the fuel is definitely crucial, and smaller fuel formats. Electric chainsaw works well, but yeah, you don't even need that, man. Even the electric chainsaw, the blades are just a pain. You still always replacing them. They still jam and all that. So I'd definitely swap for a Sawzall and a table saw if I could. Although table saws, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge table saw fan. Easier than a lot of other devices, though, for sure. So well, alrighty, guys. Like, it sounds like we got a ton of delay, but it's still working, man. It's awesome having you guys here. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, listening and watching. Really good to see some of the old names and new ones, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and chatting. So I'm gonna keep this one short. We're here at an hour, so I think I'm gonna cut her off. And like I said, I'll come back next week. We'll do it again. In the meantime, feel free to leave me comments or whatever. Let me know what's going to work best for you, and I'll try and get a little list going of topics and stack up some questions for me. Tell your friends, tell everybody to subscribe and get the announcements that we're going to do this or whatever it is that gets that going, and we'll get together next Wednesday. So, all right, you guys, I know the delay is bad, so you probably can't text me, or if you do, or chat, they'll probably come over in a few minutes. But I'll work on my skills too with the with the webcam thing or the chat there. I need to make that fit better, but I'll do that next time. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for listening and watching and for chatting, and I will catch you guys next week. We'll do stove chat again. All right. Take care. And Manny, you're hours behind me in the sun there. Enjoy yourself. All right, you guys. See you later. Let's see. I'm going to try and do my outro here. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks.